What's happening, guys? Welcome back. This video is going to mostly be about fish feed and how we feed our fish here. I get a lot of questions about it because obviously I do not have time to sit here and take care of my animals all day, every day. I have, just the amount of time it takes for me to do the small maintenances, and collecting on average takes 30 minutes to an hour a day, which is even as of now more than I want to be spending on it. So we will be updating more automation, and we have been, which is why I'm so far behind on these videos. So don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell me how you liking this stuff, man. I enjoy sharing all this information as we learn it. So I have a couple different types of tanks. For those of you that have seen my setups, you will know we have like almost 350 gallons. Doesn't seem that impressive, but I promise it takes work. Um, we only actually bought one 10-gallon, believe it or not. So, and the fish in it. So the rest were all donated and stuff. You know, maybe someone just wasn't in a place to take care of their fish anymore, whatever the situation is. I always want to, help someone out and still save a fish's life if I can, to where they don't just get dumped in a lake or something. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. So this is a drum feeder. What happens is it rotates just like a clock. This will dispense feed 2 times a day in 12-hour intervals on average. Now, you can technically here, guys, put whatever you prefer. The cool thing about this is I prefer to do the crisps in terms of fish food for these drum feeders. I use this on Loki's tank, aka if you don't know, our dragonfish, our goby, and I also use it in my son's tank, which is predominantly a crawfish tank with guppies and some snails. More of like a self-regulated tanks. I tend to use the automated feeders. My significant other has her sets of tanks that we've set up over time, things I've built, different tanks I've built, recycled, whatever I've done. Generally, I have her, as of right now, feed those by hand, just because like 2 of our 10 gallons are actually going to be betas with guppies. So, just these systems are a little bit OP for those little 10 gallons. And of course, we also have our triple 20 or triple 30-gallon tank. Honestly, don't know how big it is, but it is pretty large. We only actually are using the center tank right now. All the stuff on the outside tanks got moved into our barrels. And because our barrels are outside and the majority of what's in there are going to be algae eaters, aka goldfish, guppies. I don't think there's mollies in there, but there could be. I'm pretty sure there's ghost shrimp, and there are definitely crawfish in there. I may be missing a couple of things. Oh, and there are a significant amount of water snails. I just kind of let them breed out in there. It's an attempt for us to make our own fish food later on. Whole nother story for later. But just things like that, I don't necessarily feel a need to have an automated feeder, because even if we only feed them every other day, they are still beyond happy and generally still overfed. So we tend to only do the drum feeders on our more sensitive tanks, like I said here. So basically, it's pretty straightforward. Here on the homestead, we love to reuse. So what I did is we have a lot of AA and AAA rechargeables. I use those personally. And then all you have to do is flip an on switch, and it just kind of clips on right here. There is a way to remove this. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know how off the top of my head, but you can technically remove this and just set it on top of your tank to where it can rotate and still dispense. As I had mentioned, the crisps seem to do better from the research that I did. They're not going to clog up as bad as the flakes, and we do still use flakes. But honestly, the flakes, like I said, these are for more of the more sensitive fish, smaller fish and stuff. So I don't really see us using feeders for something like this. Now, we also have, as I mentioned, goldfish outside. And I know what you're saying. That you're like, Bryce, that is a lot of fish food. Well, guys, we've collected this. In fact, like I said, we only pay for no more than half of the stuff that we have. a lot of it's given to us because maybe someone had goldfish and their goldfish passed away. Well, now they have this whole container of food, and I would gladly trade someone a plant for this. So now they have vegetables and we have food. Always, always, always try and source your stuff locally. So anywho, something like this is going to be a pond pellet. Now, I would require a unique version in terms of an automated feeder, but I don't know if we can see if we can get you to see this. It's kind of like a round ball-like thing. So, I mean, it would work really well in an automated feeder. And since right now we're only pushing two 30-gallon barrels, automation is not the name of the game for that one. Like I said, we only really have to feed these guys about every other day, and they are still showing signs of being overfed just because of the amount of algae eaters. Even in our beta tanks, we have river snails in there, and traditionally, do not go and just put snails in your tanks, but we put river snails in the beta tanks because betas are traditionally a little bit more carnivorous. You know, they really like that high protein, and they're kind of the top dog in their area in terms of fish. You know, they're very territorial and, you know, the standard thing. So they actually generally eat the baby snails. So after, you know, there's an explosion of like 100 baby snails, they will sit there and pick on those snails for the next week. That's free food for us. You know, and the snails don't really suffer because they eat them. Nature is taking their course. It's not very nasty. And in turn, the snails clean the excess debris and algae. It's kind of a win-win. Again, so like we don't really need feeders. I do have snails and stuff, but like, you know, Loki is a dragonfish goby. Those of you that know, gobies aren't exactly that predatorial. Like they're not very. They're more of like a prey. They get beat up a lot by bigger fish. That's why they need their own tank. You know, just stuff like that. So we tend to, you know, have a feeder there because they're not going to really eat the snails that are in there. You know, we actually breed out snails in there because of that. And due to that fact, obviously we're going to need a drum feeder. As of late, I'm not 100% sure if that's the only feeder. I may actually add another feeder because I don't feel like it's enough for as large as a tank since it is a 55-gallon long tank. Something about adding another feeder on there. But right now, our other feeder, as I said, is sitting in my son's tank, which is a crawfish tank. Traditionally, again, that is more of a self-sustaining system, so I don't actually have to have one. But just because of the actual load on it, since it's only like a 25-gallon tall tank, the mere fact that it has a crawfish, I think there's like 10 to 15 guppies in there, plus any snails, river snails. The crawfish, again, were wild. So river snails and small fish was traditionally what they're accustomed to eating. They didn't really like to take to the flakes as well. So what I did was I set up an environment they're already accustomed to. Again, that way no one really suffers, but Mother Nature can take its course. These have been a lifesaver. I mean, it saves me, on estimate, about 5 minutes a day, which doesn't sound like much, but when you start stacking systems like we have, 5 minutes can easily turn into 50 minutes by the time you have 10 different projects that you have to look at every day. So that's pretty much going to be it for this video. This is just how we keep up with our fish's needs. And again, I'm always going to be upsizing, looking for different things. There are different drum sizes and stuff you can use depending on your tank and the load, and, you know, this, that, and the other. So always do your research. But I would strongly, strongly, strongly recommend just trying it out. See how you like it. If you do not want to actually go to the store and buy this, like I said, there is a way you can actually just buy a little clock motor. There's videos everywhere on it. You can make drums out of a million things, including cups. You know, you like put a hole in the bottom of the cup, kind of super glue it on, pop a hole in one of the lower ends to where, you know, whenever it's turning, it can push that food towards it. You can use, I've seen people use tape and different other things to kind of plug the hole if it's been too large, you know. Because like on here, this spoon, I don't know if y'all can see that very well, but this spoon actually rotates to determine how much food you want to dispense. So something like that, I'm already spilling food. So Something like that would obviously be determined by the size of the hole if you're making it yourself. It would probably run you about $10 to $15 a piece. Obviously, making a whole lot would benefit you, while making just a few would be a little bit more complex, a little bit more pricey. So, since we only needed like three, it was easier for us to trade. And like I said, since I do have two now, I may just go buy the last one if I have the cash. Or honestly, I'll probably try and trade just because that's what we prefer to do. So that's going to be it for this video. Like I said, this is just how we feed our fish on a regular basis. It makes things very, very easy and saves us a lot of time. Like I said, as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Absolutely love sharing this stuff with you guys. We'll see you on the next video. Be nice, be kind out there. Pat someone on the back. Tell them they did a good job. We're all just struggling to do the best we can. So have a good one. We'll see you the next time.